Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother Ajay Taimba. I just want to take a few moments to welcome you to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School was started in 2016 by myself and my queen, and we basically saw that there was a lack of foundational Black political education going on in Harlem. We're not going to get up from under white supremacy without knowing how oppression works, how it affects and impacts in our community, the ways in which we internalize our own oppression and engage in self-defeating behavior and thinking, and our socio-political movements and our very important individuals and organizations throughout our history who played a leading role in fighting against and resisting and disrupting white supremacy. So Harlem Liberation School was founded as a Black political education center for adults. Because education is not just relegated to children. Adults need education. It's those of us adults who maybe when we were kids did not get that foundational Africana studies of Black political education. The things we need to know to be free and to fight effectively for our liberation. And so that's what we're here to do. We hope that you will come through, check us out, look at our videos, like them, comment on them, and share them. Peace and Black Power. Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist, Brother Ajay Taimba from live on location and at the wonderful historical and political village of Harlem, New York. We welcome you to Harlem Liberation School, at least our extension online. And we ask you up front to, if you have not already, if you're watching on YouTube particularly, to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. If you're on Facebook, share that link, family. Don't be a stingy African. You share this goodness with other Africans so that they can know what's going on, particularly because we're not self-absorbed. We always are trying to extend our platform to bear witness to the good work of other Africans and New Africans. And so we want to make sure that everybody today tunes in and know about my brother, Baba Amin Ojuok, who is, among other things, is the co-founder of Uhuru Academy, and he does a number of wonderful things and has been doing it family. You know what I talk about? Longevity, right? Counts for 3 decades. That's what's up. So without further ado, I want to be able to bring our good brother on. He is certainly a beloved individual in our community. When I put the fly up with his face, a lot of people resonated, reacted. Oh yeah, I got to be there for this. So I'm excited too, particularly as he is a brother who is committed to educating our people. And you know how I am about education, fam. So without further ado, we're going to bring on our good brother, Baba Amin. Brother, how you be, man?
Black man. I'm good, brother. It's an honor to be here at the Harlem Liberation School, man. I'm honored to be here.
Man, listen, this brother's being modest. We're honored to have him here. Listen, that feeling is mutual, man. I guess we got so much to cover.
I applaud your platform. I applaud your consistency and just in looking into what you're doing, the content that you're creating. Man, look, you fixing my algorithm. you know, we need more time. If we're gonna be on it, we need to be controlling the narrative and impacting the algorithm for those of us who come on here looking for information and looking looking to learn and looking for resources for other people. So thank you for being a resource that I can reach out and tell my parents and people that I run into. Here's another resource that you can access where you can go learn and hear some serious conversation about what's going on with our people.
I shaded that, man. I shaded that. You know, I feel, brother, and I know you can understand what I'm saying, that when we get compliments from the community, we're gracious. We accept compliments. But we know in the back of our mind that we are passing on and giving to others what was given to us. Correct?
That's it.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
And that's what it is. You know, it's each one teach one, each one reach one. I love it when the work brings us together. You know, I love it when our work and our impact and that's what our commitment brings us together. It's like that's why we met. We met on the battlefield. We met, you know, working, and that's the best kind of unity. That's the best kind of Black unity for me. When the first thing we find out that we have in common is the liberation of Black people, a commitment to the liberation and education of Black people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
we having a good time, and we just servants.
That's right.
We're
That's
servants.
right.
We can't do what we do without the Black community, you know. And so as you and I walk around, being able to do what we do, we know we can only do it because we come from a people, you know, a beautiful people that wants to know its history, that wants to preserve our story and believe in educating our children. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see me, you see them.
That's right.
You
That's
know.
right. And for those watching, to counter this stereotype of we Black nationalists, Pan Africanists, we're not mean and angry and bitter and walking around ready to kill nobody. Me and this brother are smiling widely.
Right.
We're doing what we were put here to do. We are feeling good that we're serving the people. So we want to
Yeah.
break that whole myth. We always mad. We want to hurt somebody. No, that's not about that. We want to heal our people. All
Right.
right, man. Let me just see, Baba, if we have any comments. My computer, for some reason, is moving slow. Hold on one second. I want to see. I want to try to bring people in. Okay, let's see. We got a few people. We got this is my one true love, my queen, Sister Brenda's bearing witness, saying Wukusu. We say Wukusu, Baba, mean as the acronym for wake up, clean up, stand up.
Okay. Wake up, clean up, stand up. Wukusu.
Kusu.
Well,
Yeah,
Wukusu.
right?
All right. Well, family Wukusu, Queen Brenda. It's an honor to be here.
And we got Sister Crystal Denise. She was very excited when I posted this. She's like, "Oh, I gotta be there for this." Peace, Sister
Thanks.
Crystal, and I gotta get you back on the show, Sister Crystal. All right, hope you can commit to that for us. That'd be great.
Yes, our
Um,
Academy. Crystal does
Uhuru
great work.
Academies, paying greetings to Sister Denise.
Yeah,
Sister Brenda is thanking you for joining us, good brother. And she's also the people watching
I
and
say.
saying that if this is your first time, like the video and subscribe. You know, we're doing a little bit of housekeeping, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Sister Denise, giving the greetings to you, Baba. And
Here we
so a lot going on. I got my queen being witness to Sister Krista Denise. I like when that happens. It's kind of like people, it's almost like a virtual family cookout.
I say.
Everybody's hugging and how you been? And I like that. Um Celestial Davis gives greetings.
I
All
say.
right, that's excellent. Now we're gonna get into it. For those who don't know why we're here today, our good brother Baba Amina is going to be discussing a few things, I think, kind of around the issue of African-centered education. But we don't want this to be like just a classroom. We want him to also talk about how he got into consciousness and his journey and his organization and how he got into ministry. Very interesting brother here. And so we want to get into a few things. But the first thing, Baba, I like to ask people is what people or experiences led you into consciousness, if you will.
Right. Um, wow, that's a good question, man. And thank you for that question. I was led into consciousness or knowledge of self or Black pride, if you will, in college. My first college experience back in 1990, 1991, Wiley College. And this is why all HBCUs should have Black Studies programs. I was a freshman at Wiley College, and I needed an elective. And the only thing that was left was Black history. I wasn't interested, but I had to take it. So I took this course and I got a teacher. And this is why teachers are important. You know, I had a good teacher, Dr. A.J. Stovall, in his Black Studies course, and he didn't just teach us Black history. You know, he challenged our thinking. He opened our eyes to things that were going on around us. This was the early 90s. We was dealing with the crack epidemic. A lot of us had survivors remorse. You know, our friends are at home in the streets. We at school trying to do it a different way. And he brought that story together for me. He made it make sense to me. Like how could my neighborhood go from somewhere where I was we could leave our screen door open to a place where, you know, your own family might steal from you. You know what happened to us. You know what I'm saying? And that course gave it historical context. It gave my present day situation a historical context that not only made sense, but it empowered me to do something about it. Right. And so I would have to pinpoint there, you know, and then from there I was seeking, you know, and as a part of this class, I had to read books. We had to read Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, some classics. We had to read the ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder, you know, and They Came Before Columbus, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Our textbook was written by Maulana Karanga. So it was my first exposure to that type of material, right? And then somebody messed around and played me a Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad tape, and I was done.
All right now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was done. So
yes, sir.
I went home and searched for something to do. I went home from school. I didn't go back to college. I stopped out of college in the 9th grade to go home and get engaged in the process. You know, I started out working with a rites of passage program in Butler Housing. Shout out to my Butler Housing family, you know, out of Fort Worth, Texas, you know, and you know, and from there ended up working with Boys and Girls Clubs, other programs that put band-aids on bullet wounds. But from the 90s on out, all I've ever done was work with young people and do music, you know, and so that's how I got into consciousness, man. Just it caught me at the right place at the right time.
And we all are glad that it did, because you have done a mighty work and have obviously touched many students and parents and other staff and other people who are onlookers. Because, you know, in our community, a lot of people will check you out for years, won't say anything, won't, you know, necessarily contribute no money, but they're peeping you. And they're actually, maybe some don't like what we do, and some are attracted to what we do and admire and respect what we do. So that's the part we don't talk about. The people who are watching that we don't know, but it's changing their life, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Now, this is a controversial. It shouldn't be, but it is controversial. Malcolm was one of the big exponents, I know, at least in the late 20th century, of having an African-centered education for liberation, right? And so we know that after his death, Black Power movement comes about, and the Black students are taking over these college campuses, particularly the predominantly white ones, and they're calling for Black studies departments. They want an education for liberation. And we know that there's a whole big movement for Black schools, independently owned and funded and African-centered. But as you know, Baba, as things become more popular, they can also become more confused, right, and more diluted. And now, so when you ask 10 different people what's an African-centered education, you might get 12 different answers.
Right. Yes.
Depending on their politics, right? All right. But could you, Baba, as you see it, how would you define African-centered education?
I say, and I'm going to point out too that I respect those other definitions, right? Especially if those definitions are coming from practitioners, you know, because we're all going to engage it from a different angle, maybe from a different perspective, from a unique experience, right? And definitions are shaped by experiences, you know what I'm saying? And so in my experience, African-centered education is education that's centered around the story, experiences, more ways and four ways of people of African descent. Now, when we say African, right, we're not arguing on semantics. That African term for me is there to denote the group. So I know which group it is. We know we talking about Black folks when we say African-centered, right? Now, your definition of what being African means may vary, because we're not a monolithic people, right? But as long as it's centered around the empowering of people and communities of African descent, if the narrative is told from the perspective of our ancestors, it's centered around us, right? So and that crosses over into engineering, into science, right? There is nothing that can't be taught from an African-centered perspective, because we've experienced it. It's there, you're not going to find a major subject that you could teach that we haven't touched. And so when you
That's right.
teach that subject from our touch, from our experience with that subject, with that topic first, then you're coming from an African-centered perspective.
Yes, sir. I shade for that. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Um, Appreciate that, and I appreciate also that you're displaying something that I'm finding as I get older. I
Mhm.
can't claim I was always here. I can't
Right.
claim that I'm perfectly here now. But something
Right.
I've been working on is having a flexible mind, being able to understand that other people interpret things a little differently, and as
Mhm.
long as it's not hurtful, and as long as it is positively impacting our people, that I have to make room for how other people see things. That it's not just how I see it. So I like that you brought that flavor to it. And
Yeah.
we have other Eddie Miles. He's a definitely part of the Harlem Liberation School family. He has what I think is a really good question. I'm gonna put it up, Baba.
Mhm.
He says, "Well, Kusa, can you discuss how African-centered education can be used to combat not just school-based education, but perhaps also the influence of popular culture? You know, TV shows and such that promote backwards ideas and integration is nonsense. How could?" So that's a very good question, Eddie. Thank you for that. How would you
Yeah.
respond to that, Baba?
I would say that African-centered education has to thrive to be an institution building mechanism. It's it's not enough for us to be symbolically good. It's not enough for us to just teach an African history class or keep us connected with traditional African culture. We have to work towards the future, right? And we have to master mechanisms and create new mechanisms to empower ourselves, to control our narratives, to tell our stories, right? To combat school-based education. Again, building our own programs is one. And people say, well, that takes a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of money to build small ones. Build a lot of small ones until you can afford the big ones, right? Right. Build what you can with what you have, because you have to fight that fire with water. You have to fight ignorance with information. So we have to create safe spaces inside of our community where our children can go for information, even if you're not an everyday thing. There is a abandoned house in your neighborhood that if a group of y'all got together, y'all could buy that house, acquire that house for cheap, and put a little library in that house, a little community center in that house, right? I'm not joining any. I won't join any formation that or organization that's not willing to put a piece of property in the middle of where Black people are. Because if we're not working with Black people and we're African centered and we're not working among Black people, what are we doing? Right. So
Mhm.
that's one way to combat the school, is to establish institutions in the neighborhood that counter that thinking, right? And educate yourself. Make sure you have the conversation that'll empower your child to know the truth without putting them in a position where they're alienated themselves if you still have them in the school system. Which brings me to the ultimate solution: pull them out. I can't not suggest pull them out because we all can't pull them out Monday. I don't know what
Right.
you can, right? So pull them out. The ultimate solution: pull them out. Well, what they gonna do? Then that's the next part of that. Figure it out. Be so serious about it that you figure it out the way we figure out how to get the concert tickets, the way we figure out how to qualify for a car we can't afford, the way we figure out all the other stuff. Put that same figure it out attitude on your child's education. But let's pull them out. Let's build for ourselves. The Uhuru Academy, for example, we're online and we have campuses, and we'll come help you build a campus. We'll help you start a school, right? So if you separate them from the school system, graduate your own children, which you have the right to do. That's another way to fight it too,
Mm.
right? And so that's what I would say. I hope I answered the question.
Absolutely, you did. And I'm gonna. And by the way, just as I put Brother Eddie's question up, family watching, if you have a question, throw it in the chat, and I'll do my best to include it in this conversation, so that it is as inclusive, as possible. Um, I'm interested to know, boy, this computer. Hold on 1 second, Baba.
No problem.
Now, we discussed, we did define what African-centered education was. What would you say are the objectives? I think that's very important. And Ms. Wilson talks about, having intentionality in what we do, having a very clear purpose. What
Right.
would you say are the objectives of an African-centered education?
The objective of African-centered education is, number one, to ensure that our children are culturally and spiritually grounded, right? So no matter where they go in life, no matter what they achieve, they will be rooted and tied to their bloodline and directly to where they come from. So they'll have a source. So they'll always have roots, planted and to help with that, with perspective. Another objective of African-centered education is to prepare our children to be global citizens. All right. We're not just doing this so we can have some mad dashiki wearing grown folks sitting around working at Kinko's and talking about the white man. That's not what this is, right? Right. We are preparing our children to walk with the attitude that the globe belongs to them. And they can travel anywhere on this globe and make a living and make an impact on humanity. So an African education is a global based education. It's also empowerment based. Our objective is to develop producers, right? Owners and producers, as opposed to people who are dependent and have to work for others. We want to break that cycle and create new cycles of ownership like we've had in this country before. We want to bring that entrepreneurial spirit back, that desire for land ownership back. We want to bring that fervor for invention and innovation. We want to bring that back into our conversation, our everyday conversation with our children. And so African-centered education builds safe spaces in order for that to happen.
Excellent. And as you were kicking it, Baba, Sister Chris Denise chimed in with a question. I'm going to put that up.
Yes.
She says, referring to some of the things that you mentioned would be under the rubric of an African-centered education. She says, we have those things at our center, but most Black folk in our area act as if they're afraid to come. Hello. Yeah.
Right.
But what can we do to get our people on board?
All right. Cool. Excellent question. One thing I've learned over 30 years of doing this, and I'm talking about doing it door to door, literally, is our people love our story. Our people love to learn Black history. Our people love to perform. Our children love to perform, and parents love to watch our children perform. And our kids like to eat. If you can combine them three consistently, the community will get on board. So if you have a component where they're learning Black history and it's fun in an interactive way, like call and response. We have a rhythmic call and response curriculum that we call Sankofa for Success, where on each topic, they're learning about 10 quick questions. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's the original name of Egypt? Kemet. What does Kemet mean? Land of the Blacks. How many golden ages did Kemet have? 4. Name the first golden age. Pyramid age. Second golden age. Literary age. Third golden age. Imperial age. Fourth golden age. Revival age, right? And we don't go into, yes, and during the revival age, King Pianki did this. We don't do that, right? A fun curriculum where they can go back and forth, boom, boom, boom. Then we say, all right, who know how to step or do a dance or something like that? Now let's do a step, or let's do a poem or rap, or let's do something that incorporates what we learned, right? And we're going to perform it. We're going to do a show, and we're going to invite the neighborhood to the show at the center, right? That's one way to do it, right? To bring those elements together. But other thing is just continue your relationship building and focus on focus on quality, not quantity. So focus on your relationship building in the community. Do neighborhood walks. Get the volunteers that you have. Y'all walk the neighborhood every now and then and maybe hand out something, hand out a flyer, hand out a brochure or something. Do you know that you're Black and beautiful? Come to the center to find out why. Talk to parents. How you doing? Us can come over and study anytime. So being consistent with getting out there, right? And then maintaining that positive attitude within yourself. Get up every day thinking like a farmer. The farmer has no idea which seeds are going to sprout. All the farmer can control, you can till that soil, take good care of the soil, right? Give it water, right? And then trust the universe. And that's what we do as grassroots educators. We trust the universe, but we make sure we're gonna till the soil. You keep the spirit and the energy in your center is off the chain. So the soil is rich. Now we just need to plant some seeds and then trust the universe. We don't know which seeds gonna sprout, but they gonna sprout and there will be a harvest.
That's right. That's right. I like the way you broke that down.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too. When I was studying to find out how to do YouTube channels back in the day and what's the different steps, there's a lot of different stuff I came across. One guy just said, "Listen, man, do as many videos as you can
Mm-hmm.
and put them up." And that's it. That's it. And basically, he's saying that you have to do things. You have to. You can get with the theoretical piece. You got to have good theory, but at some point, you got to get out there and put it out there because it's in that kind of interaction that you're going to learn what
Uh-huh.
works, what doesn't work, right, and how you
Right.
tweak. And it's
Right.
funny because I met Brother Baba virtually because I saw that he had just subscribed to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. So I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
Uhuru Academy. I gotta check that out." So I check it out. I'm seeing what he's doing. I'm looking at the website. I'm like, "Oh man, we gotta get in touch with this brother. We need to." You see, but if he didn't put nothing there,
Mm-hmm.
if we didn't put nothing here, he wouldn't
Right.
have known.
Right.
And if he didn't have nothing there for me, you
Right.
see, so
I
whatever it
can't.
is you have in your mind has to come out your mind.
Yeah, like I gotta follow that. I gotta follow the Harlem Liberation School. What you mean?
Yeah,
And so yeah, when you reached out, I'm like, well, that's what that was.
you got to put something there, family.
Yeah.
Nationalists hate you on a lot of ideologies because we push the theory, but we push making sure that you manifest what's in your head on the block, on the
Right.
street corner, in people's homes, in
Right.
schools. That's why nationalists created Black Studies Department. That's the nationalist creation,
Right.
right?
And see where we
So
are
that's
now.
that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. My
No,
bad.
no, go ahead, good brother, please.
I was saying with where we are now, it's time to debate tangibles. I'm not interested in debating the theories anymore. Now I want to see the results of your experiment. Now I want to see the results of the tangibles. Those are the people I want to engage with as far as this work. Now I appreciate it because I've built this work off of the work of people who are both practitioners and people who came up with the concepts and we need all of that, right? But we also need tangibles. Yeah, man, we doing it this way because we've acquired 10 schools, over 100 acres of land, and this is our formula. Well, we doing it this way. We in the urban centers and we do boo boo, but that didn't work. So then we turned around and did this, and this. These are the conversations we need to have. These are the notes that we need to compare before we argue. No, doing it that way ain't gonna work. How you know? No, that's not how you do it. Did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't did it, don't tell me how not to do it. Right?
I share
Right.
to that.
Right. And I won't do the same for you, even though we've been around since 2010. I don't take that on like, okay, y'all got to listen to me. This is how to do it. No, this is an exchange. This is an information exchange, and we need to all be participating in
Yes, sir. Well, Barbara, that's a perfect segue in terms
it.
of tangibility, taking invisible ideas and making them manifest physically.
Yes.
Tell us about Uhuru Academy. Tell us about how you had the idea, how it started, what it's about, what's its components.
Right. Well, first I have to pay homage to a teacher of mine, Ricky Clark. When I left Wiley College, Uhuru Academy was indirectly born when another brother, powerful black man by the name of Will Muhammad, introduced me to another brother named Ricky Clark. I was studying with the Nation of Islam at the time, and I was out with Brother Will selling the paper. He took me into the so-called projects, Butler Housing, and I met this wonderful black man by the name of Ricky Clark, who had a rites of passage program there, right? And he took me under his wing. I didn't even know I liked children, but I had a knack, and I started coming to Butler every day. Every day when he had group, he was teaching Black history after school. I would do it every day. And long story short, I never stopped teaching from that day. From that, in Fort Worth, that's what I'm known for being. We had a rites of passage in Butler Housing. We went to another community, Whispering Oaks. We went to another community called Regal Ridge. And we're doing this, and we're doing this out of our pockets, by fundraising, whole 9 yards. So we're in the middle of the Crip and Blood wars and all that. Like I remember the day Ricky Clark left. The Uhuru Academy was born this day. The day Ricky Clark left me in the community room at Regal Ridge, I hope he watched this, at Regal Ridge with over 40 children in there that didn't have to be there, and said, handle the classroom. And I handled the classroom.
All right.
Activities, steps, call and response. We had it rocking in there, and I knew what it was about to be. Uhuru Academy was officially born, though, in 2010. It would be some 20 some odd years later. It was the culmination of me working in various programs and getting tired of putting band-aids on bullet wounds. You know what I'm saying? Having an entrepreneurial spirit at the same time. My wife and I, we were married in 2009. We combined our families together, and we just talked about, what do we want to do? And I told her about my vision of having a school, and I was going to call that school the Rites of Passage Academy. And then I changed it to the Uhuru Academy. And she was just like, yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm ready, and I was at work one day and I decided I was ready. And I walked in and resigned. They offered me a raise to keep me there, but it was time to go. And I left, and I told my wife, and she was like, let's ride. And we got 5 children. They got to eat. We ain't got no funding. There was no grant, none of that. We just had to go get it, right? And called up a friend of mine, the same friend, Ricky Clark, who taught me how to teach. He had an alternative school, and he allowed us to start our private school in the back of his alternative school in exchange for me teaching classes also in his alternative school. So we in this building just going in and working with our children like, boom, you know what I'm saying? And so you had the alternative school right there. But now I'm like, you're not going back to the public school after you finish alternative school. You coming down the hall to join the private school. We're not letting them have you back. You coming down here. And so instantly we saw, wow, we can create these pipelines, like that. We can give our parents an escape route from the public school system. And that's how the Uhuru Academy was born. Then from there, it was about our parents. It was about community partners. We were able to move the school to a church. From the church, we went to a house. As a matter of fact, the Bloods actually donated a schoolhouse to the Uhuru Academy in Fort Worth, man. It was an old trap house where the Bloods used to get put down at. All kind of death came up out this house. You know what I'm saying? OG passed it on to us, and Free Damu, good, beautiful brother. He passed it on to us, and the whole hood came together, and we repainted the house, put a new gate on it, and turned that house into a schoolhouse, right there in the middle of the neighborhood. So for about a year and a half, we were able to hold that and do our school out of there. Then from there, we moved to a couple more locations in Fort Worth. It's been all about adaptability. We went online in 2015 because we got the opportunity to start building programs in other communities, including Houston, where we work with the Prince family, Jay Prince and his daughter, Ashley Prince, primarily Ashley, to start the Prince Circle of Legends Academy in Fifth Ward. In Houston, which was an honor. We worked with the Washington family out here in Columbia, South Carolina, to help develop the UASC, or Uhuru Academy, South Carolina International Learning Center, which is the model campus for an African center school. We out here coding, blockchaining, and farming. So it's going up here at UASC International, where I live. I actually live on the campus of UASC International. My 3 youngest children are attending UASC International. So we're able to live in an entire ecosystem of African-centered thought in education. But Uhuru Academy was born in the trenches, y'all. Like the young folks say, we got it out the mud. My wife and I, and we started this school, and the community got on board, and we wouldn't be here without the community's help, without grassroots organizations like Lone Star RBG and the Sacred Sister Circle, the Doc Bookshop. We made partnerships with Black-owned businesses and pastors. You ain't got to be as pro-Black as me, just black enough to let me use your computer room. You know what I'm saying? Black enough. Man, you ain't got to put on no dashiki. You ain't even got to tell nobody
Right.
out here. You know what I'm saying?
That's
We
right.
can slide in, do our thing, and do what we want to do. And so, you know, I would take that formula and I share that formula with other conscious people and conscious organizations. Subterfuge means something. You don't have to go in there with the fist raging every time. Go in there and find a common lane, show respect, right? Find a common lane and get in that lane. We spend so much time criticizing what's wrong with everybody else, but they got all the buildings. They got all the eight. So, you know, until you get your building, you need to make friends with them so you can use a building. You know, that's why a lot of us end up just talking about it, because getting out there and actually engaging Black people is another aspect of the game. That's another, and that's how the Uhuru Academy was born, y'all. We directly engaged with our people, directly, and not just the conscious one. Because in the beginning, a lot of people in the conscious community was like, "Nah, who vetted you? You can't. Who are y'all to be starting a African center school? You know, and that sort of thing. Am I African? Yes, then I can start a school. I'm not asking for permission. I'm asking for forgiveness. Forgive me. We're starting an African center school. Forgive me. We're going to take what Amos Wilson talked about. We want to make it real. We want to take what Mama Marimba Ani teaches us about, and we're going to make it real in our community. And we're willing to make the investment and bump our heads and make the mistakes as we go. And we were founded in 2010. I'll tell you this, we've had our ups, we've had our downs, but we've never missed a day of school. And we educate 5 days a week, kindergarten through 12th grade, and we graduate our 12th graders. You never have to go back. You never have to go back. And we tell our parents, this is your school. And you have to take ownership. If you don't take ownership of this, this is not the school system. This is your system. This ain't the public food system where you can pay taxes to it and have no involvement. This is the school system where your involvement is your tax. That is, yes, go for it.
Sorry. No, I'm sorry. I wanted to say, if people wanted to know more about the work that you and the other brothers and sisters where you are doing, what website would you give them?
Okay, I would tell them to go to uhuruacademy.com. That's www.uhuruacademy.com. And I can put that in here as well, right? www.uhuruacademy.com. They can definitely go there. All right. And then to check out the campus program, you would go to uascinternational.org. I'll chat you here in the studio. And you can put that in there.
Okay, you put it in the chat.
Yeah, I chatted it to you here in the studio. It's not letting me comment on the other chat for whatever reason. On the live chat. Oh, there it is, because I said something. Right. All right. So I'm gonna put that in there, you know. And we're always enrolling at the Uhuru Academy Online. We have our K through 12 online program, right? It's full-time and part-time options. We also have on uhuruacademy.com our Operation Reconnect adult education program for adults and young and older youth who stopped out of school. As long as you're 16 and up, we'll put you on a success plan to earn your high school diploma from the Uhuru Academy, right? But you'll be graduating with a plan for success. So that's our Operation Reconnect program as well. And we're also homeschool coaches. So if you need coaching on your homeschool journey, help with finding resources, curriculum, approaches, scheduling, get in touch with us on uhuruacademy.com as well. We also work with schools. You want to bring us in for a Black History class, motivate the youth, whatever it is, get in touch with us, and we're there. And we're consultants. Like I said, for example, out here at UASC International, just visit uascinternational.org and you'll see the impact that the Uhuru Academy model could have on your community. You know, when families come together and make the right investment in their time and their resources.
My good brother, could you repeat the other website, the USC?
Yes.
What is that again?
UASCinternational.org. I'm doing it right now on the chat. UASCinternational.org. I just put it on the YouTube chat.
Okay, because what I want to do is make sure we have that in a ticker, a
Right.
crawler below, so people can
Right.
constantly. Let me see. Let's see if that went through right.
And I
Yeah, it's
also
on
want
the bottom.
I also want to shout out one of our other comrade schools in Tanzania, the Uhuru Community Center in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Brother Abdul Shabazz and his queen out there doing fantastic work with young people in Tanzania. They're working a lot with young people from the U.S. who've moved to Tanzania and they're trying to transition and adapt to the culture. They have a very powerful STEM program going at the Uhuru Community Center. So if you all get a chance to put in Uhuru Community Center, Tanzania, right? Tanzania, go check them out and add them to your list of organizations to support monthly as well. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a brother and sister team, another husband and wife, black couple doing beautiful work, and they can definitely use our support as well. So I want to definitely shout out the Uhuru Community Center, UASC International Learning Center here in Columbia, South Carolina. And then, of course, we got Uhuru Academy Online, Operation Reconnect, you know what I'm saying? And then our consultation services as well. You know, want to shout out some other schools that we also work with and programs. The Fifth House Collective out of Detroit, Liberated Farms out of Detroit. Definitely want to shout out Roxbury Roots in Massachusetts, the Ziax Institute right there in New York. I want to definitely shout out Q Butter, Conscious Ingenuity, fabulous STEM program created by Dr. Oya Mayat. Just fantastic stuff. The new Akibalan STEM Academy, Sister Cheryl Irvin down in Broward County, Florida. Of course, the Sase Academy and Sister Crystal Denise doing wonderful work as well. The Our Black Fathers Coalition out in Phoenix, Arizona. Definitely want to shout those brothers out. We did a virtual life skills course with them this year. So our work now is not just to run our schools, but we're out here building programs, developing programs, empowering communities. We want to be right there on the front lines. If you all would like to support our work, we also have a Patreon channel, and it's patreon.com/Uhuru Academy. Should get you there. You know what I'm saying? And I just put that in the chat on the YouTube. If you want to become a monthly patron, you're more than welcome to do that as well. And again, when you support the Uhuru Academy, you're supporting African-centered education. You're supporting boots on the ground work in organizing. And you know, it's just an honor. It's an honor to do this work. I don't have a job. I don't, man. I
Yes,
wake up
sir.
every day like, this ain't even fair. I would do this for free, but I do it so well, people pay me for it. I made it.
All right. Now, brother, I saw this in your bio,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, now, isn't this interesting? It's interesting because myself and another brother, a comrade in the struggle, we've talked about um, entering ministry on different reasons and in different ways. So
Yes.
that caught my eye. Is it true that you're also a minister? That you have an
Yes.
organization that deals with that? Could you talk about that?
Yes. I am a founding member and minister for the Temple of New African Unity. The Temple of New African Unity was founded in 2011 in Fort Worth. Myself, my beautiful wife, in the community. You know, shout out to Supreme Ra Africa and Kari Menashe Africa, Brother Ali Africa, and others who were there, Brother Bomania Jamu and Kamaria, who were there. And Temple was a vision that came as a spiritual unifier. So the Temple of New African Unity is an African-centered universalist spiritual center where our only religion is Black people coming together. Like that's our religion. You could be a Muslim and come to temple. You could be a Moor and come to temple. You can be a Christian and come to temple. But as long as you believe in the resurrection of Black people, and however you believe it, we could fellowship together. Right. And so that's what temple was. When everybody got out of church, got out of mosque, wherever they was at, everybody come to temple. We had temple later in the afternoon. So then let's come to temple and let's talk about what we have in common. And let's recognize that no matter what it is that we're believing, that comes from that same African tree. So whatever ism you grabbing, its core principles were first written by our common ancestors. So temple is a reminder. It's something we put in the community to help get us back to those core values. And there would have been no Uhuru Academy if we hadn't developed temple right alongside. Every Sunday, we needed to come back together and fall in love with Black people again, because that's how horrible it is out here. Like every Sunday, Wednesday night, Saturday, we got to come together and fall in love with Black people again, because between Sunday and Wednesday, you might start hating Black people again. It's highly possible, but between Sunday and Wednesday, you ain't gonna be able to stand in words no more. And so we need safe space in the community where it's not about a preacher. It's not about lifting up a personality. It's about lifting up a community and a community's pride within itself. Man, we married couples in temple. We help couples not get divorced in temple. You know what I'm saying? And so through temple, Black-owned businesses were started. People were coming and getting that confidence and saying, you know what, this has been my dream. I want to step out and do this. And so that's what temple is, you know, and that's what the temple of new African unity is. And we put that new, of course, NU means divine, and that's finding a divinity in us, you know what I'm saying? But a new African unity, not the first, but a new kind of African unity. What does Black unity today look like? What does that look like? And I dare you to go try to make it real. Right?
Now,
and that's
Sister Sheila, I'm sorry, Baba.
Go ahead.
Sister Sheila asked, where is the temple?
I say. So right now, we don't have organized temple every week. Right now, temple has been for the last couple of years, the relationships and that community that was involved in temple when we were on the ground. And we had a national following because we had people throughout that would watch us virtually on Sundays and that sort of thing. We're looking to bring public temple back, in that we're looking for people who believe in Black unity. You know how you believe that Jesus is coming back, right? We're looking for people who believe that we coming back, that the Black family's gonna make a comeback, and we need to be ready for that resurrection. We're looking for people who believe in that would like to build safe spaces and create safe spaces in our community for people to come, you know, and express that, right? We created temple to be a buffer too. Right? Because when a lot of times when people get on their consciousness journey, they go home and no, Jesus ain't real. When you don't go tell your mama Jesus ain't real first time you know what I'm saying? Like we know tact and there are people who really go through mental and spiritual anguish when they learn about our story, because it may challenge what they've been learning their whole lives. So temple is a safe place to come to remind you, it's okay. Take a step. You're learning this, but learn more about that before you start chopping things out your life. Let's look at some of the transferable, like with brother, if you come to me talking about, I'm leaving that old church. I'm saying, wait a minute, what does church do for you first? We might need you to stay there for a little while.
Right.
What you know what I'm saying? You got to do. Hold on, bro. I like that you pray 5 times a day to Allah. Stay right there. But let's put your work in for the community, because sometimes what you do spiritually, that's for you. And if you find something for you that keeps you in check, don't just walk away from that because someone's disproving that there's no mother plane. And all that kind. Don't be distracted by that. What does believing that doctrine do for you, and how are you feeding the community? And let's make sure we don't lose that. If you do leave, let's make sure we don't lose those transferable parts. Transfer that commitment over here or wherever you go, right? And so we were there at Temple to counsel that, to counsel people as they cross bridges. Every movement is a home for some and a bridge for others. So we need spaces in our community where people can come and they just on the bridge. You don't have to be E5 to be here. You don't have to know Kemetic and do the 3 cheek salute to be up in here. Just be Black and curious about who you are, Black and wanting more for our people, and then come in and see this beautiful menu of beautiful people from different walks of positive Black life and pick which lane you want to walk in.
I like that, my brother. We sound like we part of the same soul tribe.
Man, we could be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
We're coming upon 10 minutes left. Bob, I want to first go to the community watch. We got people watching on Facebook,
Yes.
uh, Harlem Liberation School's page, my personal page, Harlem Liberation School's YouTube page on YouTube Live. I want to go to the community and say if you have any questions or comments. Now, I do know Brother Eddie had posted a question. You might have answered it, but I'm going to put it up anyway.
Okay.
He said, as relates to the Temple of New African Unity, atheists, I presume, are welcome as well, correct?
Yeah, atheists are absolutely welcome. You know what I'm saying? If you're comfortable in your space, right? If you're comfortable in where you are, come on in. And as long as you don't have to make others feel uncomfortable. Like a lot of times,
Right.
you know, like if somebody does stand up and say, man, all praise due to Allah, you made a good point. And the atheists go, oh, you just go, Allah. Okay, you're not comfortable as an atheist. Right. Right. And so Temple helps you become comfortable because it's not just good enough to know what you are. You got to know what you're not. And you can't be afraid to be around what you're not. Right? Because we have common enemies that come after our community. And it'd be a shame that we can't come together on things that we have in common because of a belief that we have that's a difference. And we must learn from our history. How many African nations started fighting back too late? Because it took too long to get over differences, right? It took too long to get over differences, right? It had our ancestors been able to get over a lot of the cultural differences that had developed over time, in time to fight the Ma'afa, we may be telling a different story right now. So let's learn from that. And let's learn how to communicate with one another, respect each other from where we are, because our movements, again, are home for some and a bridge for others. I done seen people walk off the atheist bridge right into the Allah bridge. I done seen people walk off the Jesus bridge to the atheist bridge, the atheist bridge to the Nuwapian bridge, from Nuwapian bridge over to the Black Hebrew bridge. I done seen it, right? So what I want to do is make sure everybody can find the bridges, because you're gonna find the home that's right for you. And what I want for you, I want for myself. What I want for myself, I want for you. I want peace. I want you to find peace. And we got to stop being afraid of each other because we have a different belief system. What if we want the same thing? I would love to come out my house and it's a dedicated Rasta family to the right and some Black Hebrews over here, as long as they ain't too loud at night. The Black Hebrews over here, you know what I'm saying? Black Muslims across the street, African Center Christian right there. Oh man, that's a good neighborhood right there. All the men believe in self-defense. All the women believe in being mothers and building a family and boo boo. That's a nice neighborhood. So yeah, I want us to learn how to be neighbors.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Baba Amin, I'm curious to know, when we talk about nation, we need a nation with nation builders. We supporting those who are nation builders. Sometimes I wonder, what is it that people envision?
Mm-hmm.
What is this nation going to look like for people? What does a Black nation look like for you, Baba?
For me, and I'm glad you brought that up because that gave me opportunity to plug the fact that my wife and I are co-ministers of education with the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa. And we're having our 55th annual New African Nation Day on next week, beginning next Thursday through next Sunday in Charleston, South Carolina, at the North Charleston Community Center. And that's what we're going to be talking about. What does a nation look like? For me, a Black nation looks like economic and political autonomy and sovereignty and independence for Black people. It looks like an inclusive nation as it pertains to African-centered culture and thought. An African nation is in, and nations aren't just popped up out of a toaster. Nations have to be grown like a plant. Nations have to be nurtured. Nations begin on paper. They begin as thoughts. Then they go to paper. And then you may have to preserve the nation on paper for decades before you can ever actually break ground. But eventually you got to free up some land. And when you get on that land, you begin to establish your culture and your way of life, you know, and you get people to agree with that culture, agree with that way of life, right? And y'all make a commitment to build around that, build a school, build it around a school, build it around an industry, right? And it can start out small. A nation doesn't have to have 50 states in it to be a nation. There are nations that are smaller than New York. There are nations that are smaller than Texas. There are nations that are smaller than Massachusetts, right? So a nation doesn't have to be large. A nation just has to be sovereign. A nation has to be responsible for its food and responsible for its water, responsible for the safety of its citizens. Communities are many nations. Families are many micro nations. So look around at how you would organize your family. Then that's probably how you would organize your community, which we how you would organize your nation. So our Black nation is multiple nations. There will be no one Black nation. When we are resurrected, there will be multiple beautiful and powerful, some small, some large, Black nations. We have nations now, kinda, right? In the way that we circulate our dollars, we already move like a nation. When the Jordans come out, we are in line as if we're paying taxes, as if that we're putting a tithe in that's going to get something back to us. And we move, that segment that supports that moves as a nation. There's a reason why there's the same kind of corner store on every block in every Black neighborhood or working class Black neighborhood in the country. It's not just because that's the government, COINTELPRO, they're putting it there, but it's also because they're selling products that we move as a nation to buy. We moved.
I'm letting that sink in for the watcher. I'm letting that one sink in for people.
You know, and so we move as we do more groupthink than any other group. My gosh, when Rick Ross blew up and had that beard, how many of them beards did you see? They look like a nation. When Nicki Minaj come with the braid is in the front. How many braids about to be in the front? We move as a nation. The brands that our celebrities say, this is what we own. What do? We move as a nation. It's just that the economic part of it is broken. Because when you move to go get it, you're giving your resources for something that's going to depreciate when you get it, but make somebody else rich. So your nation is being exploited. We already move like a nation. When we move for ourselves, Black folks ain't even got to change that much. We just need to move for ourselves to get this thing spinning the other way. And once we start moving for ourselves, we'll start being ourselves even more.
Yes, sir. As you were speaking, Bob, a lot of people were chiming in. I think I may know this brother Obafemi, but says Black power to my brother. And we are truly grateful for the impact Uhuru Academy is having on our family.
I say, Black Power, brother Obafemi, one of our powerful fathers in the Uhuru Academy, an educator in his own right, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the Sankofa Village, doing great work. And Baba has a new children's book out right now as well. And I want to say put it in there. I want to say it's Every Day is Sunday. I believe it's called Every Day is Sunday. I had the honor of writing the foreword. And in it, he described, it's written from the perspective of a young Black son who's homeschooled, describing his experiences throughout the week in an African-centered homeschool. And it's called Every Day is Sunday. You know, and
Every Day is Sunday.
Yes, and we're honored to have Obafemi's son, Asayaz, who's a creative genius within his own right, as a student in our online program. Yeah. Every day is
put that up.
Yeah, yeah. Every day is a Sunday, man. It's beautifully illustrated, the story is wonderfully and impactfully told. Everyone should check it out and add it to your library.
Every day is Sunday. That's a children's book, right, Baba?
Children's book, yes. And every day is a Sunday. Every day is a Sunday is the name of the book, and it's a powerful portrayal of Black life and Black family life. And, and looking like if a young family that's coming into consciousness and trying to learn how to move, how to behave. This is a great book. It's an excellent book for that. It doesn't give you specific. It gives you specific things that this young man goes through in homeschooling, right? But it's going to spark your ideas. Like, okay, that's how we move, man. We need to add that. Okay, we can do that. Like it's a really good book for homeschoolers, and children to check out.
I
Oh,
see Chris and Denise got a review on the back cover, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
So we stamping that one, bro. We stamping that one. Every day is a Sunday. It's one of those must-haves in your library, period.
Okay. Do you have any last words, Baba Amin, before we head out, at least for this time? We got to get you back. Man, are you familiar with our brother Marcus Klein in Chicago?
Yes, I am. Yeah, shout out to
He
Marcus
we
Klein.
had we had an episode in which he took us into an actual class, man. It was beautiful, and we got to see the youngsters,
Right.
interacting. I would love to have an opportunity like that with you, if
Oh man,
possible, in the future. We
oh
got
yeah,
to have you back, good brother.
yeah, that'll be
But
great. That'll be great. I appreciate it, man. If I had anything to say, and shout out to Marcus Klein and Freedom Home Academy as well. Shout out to Dr. Samori Kamara and Kamali Academy. And shout out to all the member schools of CB, the Council of Independent Black Institutions. Many of those schools have been here for decades. Shout out to the African Center School movement, from Nation House to the Marcus Garvey Shule and all the others whose example that we stand upon. African Center education is ever evolving. Right, it's ever evolving, and I'm not afraid for it to evolve. I want to see us get more involved. All right, and so everyone, please, let's get more involved in African Centered education, creating safe spaces for our children in the community. And if you need any help with that, any help whatsoever, get in touch with us at the Uhuru Academy, because that's what we're here for. That's our job.
You heard it right there from the source's mouth. Brother Baba Amin, a co-founder of Uhuru Academy. The brother got the New African Temple of New African Unity going. There's a lot percolating. Where are you headquartered, Baba?
We are headquartered out of I'm gonna shout out this beautiful small town, Hopkins, South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And we're headquartered out of here. Yeah, that's where we are, man. Small town, 96% black. I ain't know it like that, man. I'm from Texas. We moved in 2019, and I never left. So that's where we are. But have school, we'll travel. You know what I'm saying? And so we're not afraid to hop on a plane, hop in the car, do what we got to do to get where the action is.
I see we got Sister Dr. Maya in the building. She's giving the greetings.
Yes, and shout out to Dr. Ma'at, the Truth to Power podcast, and all the great work that she's doing with our students. And she's also one of our parents. Her son Jalen is a part of the Uhuru Academy, and she's the founder of Conscious Ingenuity. So we're going to be doing some fantastic work. Be on the lookout for our summer program. We're going to do a virtual STEM program, virtual STEAM program, partnering with Conscious Ingenuity. These children are coding, they're building microbit robots, the whole 9 yards. So y'all, when people say ain't nobody out here doing nothing, that is not the truth.
That's right. Usually when they say that, the person doing what they're talking about is right around the corner.
I say, you know what I'm saying? I say. So the only thing this movement is missing is you. All right.
That's right. Can I shout out Dr. Mayat real quick? Dr. Mayat, isn't it true that you have an animated? You've done some type of animation for children. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What is the name of that?
And oh my gosh, you done got me with the brain freeze. But it's Ed Anime Productions, and I'm sure Mike gonna put it in there. In my bag, I know it because I used it.
Because I think I got to see it once, and it was kind of hot, but I don't remember the name.
The Meltrek.
Meltrek?
Yes, the Meltrek series. MEL.
Oh, she put it up. Okay, I'm gonna put her comment
yeah,
up.
Yeah, the Meltrek
There
series.
we go.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Meltrek
very
series.
good. Very good. Dr. Maya, I think she knows my longtime brother Ishmael Bey.
Okay.
We go back more than 30 years. Yeah, he speaks very highly of you, Dr. Mayat. And I like the work you're doing as well.
Oh, my.
Commend you for it.
You talk about consistency. I don't know how she does it, bro. Because she's teaching, you know, she's a professor and she's an engineering professor at Morgan State.
Wow.
She's an engineering professor at Morgan State. She builds engineers, okay? But she also takes time out to create works like Meltrek and programs like Conscious Ingenuity. She's running her own YouTube channel and interviewing some of our great scholars and consistent. Runs a book club on Sundays that's just off the chain. So special salute to Dr. Mayat. It's an honor to call her a comrade in arms and just to be in that energy, man, because that sister, I don't know how she gets it done, but she does. Well, I get an inkling now, though, because I know her family. She comes from a beautiful, powerful Black family. And yeah. But that's a powerful sister right there.
Well, listen, man, this has been a really beautiful broadcast, a beautiful space, a very powerful and important ideas will drop. And not all of them have to be earth-shattering, family. They could be just basic ideas that you move on. Yeah. Right? As long as we move on them.
I say.
So really thank you for that, Bob. Gotta have you back. And I really hope me and you stay in touch because I have some ideas I want to bounce off of you, actually.
Oh, then we're gonna
think about that.
Make that happen. Yeah. We're gonna stay in touch, you know, and yeah, man, feel free to reach out. I'm gonna reach out to you if you don't reach out to me. The Harlem Liberation School and the Uhuru Academy is locked in. Let's get to work.
You already know it. You already know it. It's the Soul Tribe, man. I done found another Soul Tribe member.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. And for all of you who joined us, man, we thank you. We know you could have been doing anything else. You came and gave us a little of your time. We hope that something that you heard or felt in this experience will motivate you to be a better African, a new African, that you'll share that knowledge with others. You know, each one teach one, each one reach one.
That's right.
And, you know, we believe at Harlem Liberation School that when we follow Malcolm's 3-part outline, wake up, clean up, and stand up, we can't possibly lose.
I say.
That's it right there. And we can manifest that in different ways, but that's really the 3-part outline. Wake up, get consciousness, clean up, do self-correction, and stand up. Do the work that needs to be done to build that nation. Not just self-defense, family. There's a whole lot that goes to a nation. Not just military.
No, you gotta we need food, right? We need education. That's a lot
right.
To it, I say.
Salute to you, Baba, for all the work you have done, you're doing, and you have yet to do. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
And for those of you watching, thank you for joining us. We're going to sign out. Peace and Black Power, family.
Black Power.
Stay on for a minute, Baba, okay?